Well, that's what I was getting to. Unwanted attention since birth. So she doesn't want any attention placed on her. That's why she's not answering those questions.
And she's always saying that there's someone with her,
Right.
and that the parents always want you accompanied. And last week you made a comment about, sort of never being alone and doing things in group. And so there's always a second person. It's almost like a shadow.
So you're not allowed to just be yourself, think for yourself. You're
No, I definitely do.
always thinking about what would that other person do or something.
No, I definitely do whatever I want. Like, unless it comes off as disrespectful. Like, if I know I'm disrespectful to someone, I'm gonna think about how it's gonna make them feel. But other than that, I do what I need for myself, and then I'll do with you.
No, I don't mean doing what you need. I mean, I don't know, I just get the impression that I remember growing up and like being by myself and reading books or watching old movies and then just coming up with all these philosophical ideas, and it was just me. It was like, I grew up to like me because I like who I am. I like talking, thinking for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm sensing from you that you haven't been allowed to do that, to really
Sit
to
by myself.
express what you think.
With my dad, I'm allowed to express my feelings. I can say how I feel. I'll give like my opinion, and sometimes he's like, "Oh, that's a really good idea."
So why is it only him and not the rest of the world?
Because my mother doesn't take anybody's opinion. She won't listen to her. Anything you say is not valuable to her.
But
Because she thinks you're a child, and as long as you don't have a master's degree, you're nothing.
But do you see how even in this exercise, because this is just an exercise, throw the dice and tell us your story.
Mm-hmm.
You're still not telling your story. You're telling your boyfriend's story.
The shoes?
You're right here.
She picked up my
And
shoes.
your cousin's story, and so I'm just getting the sense that I still haven't heard.
She wants to hear from you.
I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I wasn't really trying to relate to myself. What the question was, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think
Right,
of
and that's
parachute?
fine. We're
Yeah.
just out of a story and out of symbolism, picking up
Mm-hmm.
little things that you would hear and make a note
And
about
I
the client.
apologize if you misunderstood, because I thought they were supposed to relate it to
Well,
just
we're
that.
gonna do a story now. Now we're just sort of picking up the symbolism and what we're hearing behind what the symbolism
Yeah, that was
is.
I just said the first.
That's
thing
right,
I
because you
think
weren't
about.
here at the beginning.
Right, I thought you were supposed to relate. So yeah, if you come up with the first thing and you just heard that story, sure, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's what it was.
that
That's
you
why I
are-
pulled this out, because the first thing that was on my mind was, oh, what happened? It was all over Facebook, but the whole family was like, I can't believe you're still doing that now that you almost died.
Has he done it since?
Yeah, he still does it, and we're all like, and on top of that, he's a trapeze artist, so he's jumping and flipping and doing
So
all
what
these
do
It's
we
nothing
know?
for him.
What
It's
do
a
we know about people that take risks like that?
Actually, a friend of mine from middle school, she's in the trapeze circus or whatever. She's freaking crazy, but she's crazy fun. Like, nothing stops her. She just does what she wants to do without
They're
fear
reckless.
of.
Okay, but what do we know subconsciously? I've
They've been held back.
talked about this a lot.
That she
Remember,
was held
James?
back a lot.
The chaos and structure.
Yeah. Well,
I was held back. I
So
don't like being
people
back.
that create chaos in their life, somewhere there was structure that was limiting to them.
her dad was the structure and her mom was the untreated bipolar.
Okay.
Is
So
the
you
untreated
see
bipolar.
right there,
Yeah,
the chaos and the structure.
But the
So
mom
she's got to
left
bounce
her.
back and forth.
the mom left her though. She didn't stay with her and then she stayed with the dad. So us growing up, he was always like, you guys need to be in by 9 o'clock. Whatever, we had to be in that door by 9 o'clock, that's all I did.
So by doing the trapeze and by doing all these things, she's satisfying the chaos because the structure was too confined.
She was a
I think
DJ
he
before
moved
that
up
too, with like blue hair, so.
Yeah, he used to-
Okay, so remember that, because you're gonna hear that from clients in many ways, chaos structure. So that means that there was some limiting, something that was limiting, And in order to satisfy psychological orgasm, I have to create chaos. And the chaos is oftentimes self-destructive. Not always. Being a trapeze artist is just satisfying that. It doesn't mean that it's self-destructive. I don't know the person, so I don't know what else is there. But oftentimes, that's why we pick a profession.
He moved out, and he was in New York, and it wasn't going well with his parents. And then he called my boyfriend's mom and was like, "Can I live with you for a little bit? I want to move out of the state." And he did. He stayed for a little over a year, and then he moved out, and now he's with this girl. But it's weird because he can't hold a relationship. He always has to cheat and always has to go with 1,000 girls. And this one, apparently, he's been with her for a while. He moved in with her. They got a dog together, and we were like, "Ooh."
Because not cheating, not being with 1,000 girls, holding down a relationship is too stable. That would be an interesting person to give them the feet and see what they do with it. They might put 1 foot over here and 1 foot over there.
1 foot out the door, 1 foot in the door.
You, on the other hand, had to keep those shoes together. Can you give those to James and put those feet somewhere in the room?
Anywhere.
Put those shoes somewhere in
And
the room?
any way. you
Any
want.
way, however you want. Okay. So one, the left foot is a little bit
In front of the other.
in front of the
I
other.
guess you should.
They're a little separated. He did not get out of his chair to be bothered to put them elsewhere.
That was duly
It's
noted.
like,
What were you thinking about before you decided?
Well, in my own personal mind, I was thinking about the feet, the parachute, and the candles, and I kept on thinking about the feet, and then I saw the shoes there, and I kind of thought about what you were doing earlier, and then I figured that you had people place, but not get up out of their chair, so I was like, so I told myself if I had to, I was like, I'll just put them however, but next to me, not getting up out of the chair. So that's
Okay,
one
so
reason.
you thought that the instructions didn't include
For sure.
getting out of the chair. Interesting. Okay.
Well, you
So
never,
filling in,
if you told us to
the
get out of the
gaps.
chair, it would be to go up front and put them there. In the,
You would've put them
middle.
here?
Yeah, I would have put them right in the middle, thinking that's where, like, you wanted us to do that. Because that's, I'm used to it. We're just used to going there in the center.
okay. Interesting. So what are you hearing? And what do you
People
see
pleaser.
with his
I can't see them.
placement? And we're also facing towards the door, which would make sense.
You can't take my door, man. That door thing was mine.
Wasn't here for it, so I wouldn't.
I picked them up before you came.
Yeah.
So you didn't see them.
So
One
the
foot's,
left foot,
1 foot's depending on the other. Like
okay,
one
so
foot's
what do we
leading.
know about the left foot?
Is left footed? Not really. It's
No,
like-
so is it masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
The left is feminine,
Yeah.
okay, and what do we know when you have like foot pain in the left versus foot pain in the right?
Trouble going forward or something?
Okay, which one is that? When
Left.
you're being held back,
Yeah.
exactly. So he does not want to be held back. Whereas the right is you're being forced to do something.
The right looks like it's ready to go.
So he is ready to go. He does not want to be held back. Well, keep in mind that he didn't leave his space, but he put them facing the door.
It's like not leaving your comfort zone.
But he stayed in his
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, that's.
So you'll go and you'll sort of,
If it looks like something's holding it back though, like you're moving forward but then it halts,
okay, is that what you see?
that's what I see.
Okay. I see, I'm gonna fly, but I'm gonna fly within what my confines are, my safety. So it's a little misleading in the sense that, oh, I have these wings and I'm gonna fly, but
I ain't going anywhere.
I'm gonna stay where I know, I'm gonna stay local, kind of thing. I love you. It's another Pisces. Okay, so who said falling? Carmen, did you say falling?
Yeah, that's what
Okay. And why did you say falling? What makes you think of?
That was
The parachute? Okay. So where are you falling? Where are you headed to?
in my life.
I don't know, I'm asking. That's another thing. You can ask a question and the client wants clarification. First of all, the question that the client asked to clarify is gonna tell you something. She's like, where am I falling? And she said, in my life?
Yeah.
I didn't say that, but that's pretty interesting. But second, you say, unless there's a specific question that you have, you let them sort of answer. So where do you think you're falling?
In my life, where I have noticed that many people really lying to me.
Okay,
Like I know who is friend and who is not friend.
interesting. Okay. And you said footprints for the feet. Do you leave footprints for people that lie to you as well as people that don't lie to you?
Kind of.
In what
Like, I was
respect?
like- I had a trust on them, so I was leaving footprints, but then after they did that, I just walk away. I think I left footprints, but
So you were considerate and nice and giving and putting them first until you realized that they were abandoning or lying, betraying you. Okay. So that's a healthy behavior. She didn't stay around to continue to get abused and used with people that weren't worthwhile. Okay. Light the way.
That was me.
Okay.
I guess that answers all your questions. I clearly don't know which way.
Okay, so where does it let you to go where?
I don't know. I'm more like I've always been like a directional person. Like, you tell me what it is that you want me to do. Like, if I'm helping someone out, like planning a party is the first thing that popped up in my head. Like, if you want me to help, because this is your party, not mine, because I'm not gonna choose it for you. You tell me how you want it done, or else I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm not gonna be autonomous. Like, this is not me, this is you.
I'm not gonna be autonomous.
Cause you know what, I see a lot of people doing that. I see like her best friend doing that. When it was her birthday, her best friend took her to the place where she wanted to go, and didn't realize it. And then, like, I don't like to do what I see my friends do. Like, I don't like to do what people around me do, cause like, why am I gonna be like that? Like, if I see how people don't like your behaviors or the way you are, like, why am I gonna be like that? Cause it's clearly not likable. It's not nice, or it comes off as extremely disrespectful.
What's autonomous mean?
Like, doing it, well, how did I say autonomous? So autonomous is like on your own, right? Autonomous is like AI.
Well, I'm just asking what
On
you
your
think.
own.
Yeah.
On your own?
I guess like, yeah. I guess like, what's the word for it?
Independent?
No, it's not independent. It's more like, letting people like, oh, like, how do you want this? Do whatever way you want. That. Like, no, I'm not gonna do whatever way I want, because my way is not the way that you want it, and this is your birthday party, not mine.
It's so fascinating. It's really, really fascinating.
Okay, say it.
Autonomous, what was it that she said earlier? I can't remember, but all of this idea of alone and what you shared last week and what we know about your origin story about that there was an assistance in order for you to be here, and that your father doesn't like for you, or your mom doesn't like for you to be alone and things like that.
But she said, I don't want to be autonomous.
Right, it's fascinating.
You said, I don't want to be autonomous.
Yeah, for that person, for that situation. I didn't mean in general, I meant like.
No,
with
no,
that person.
but that's the thing, when we're sharing a story,
Mhm.
those key phrases that we're listening for as a therapist are really important, because then they start to put the story together. It's like a weaving. We happen to know your
Yeah.
story of the in vitro because you shared it.
Mhm.
But if we would be hearing these themes and these threads today,
Mhm.
it would lead us, hopefully, as therapists, to ask questions about autonomy or independence, or being an only child, or being allowed to make decisions, and then we see, we could have you, let's do that, the three of you.
The parent thing.
Yeah, well, let's have Carmen. And let's have James, since they didn't do it, come. Oh, so Samantha's gonna be the
Walk
child,
rather than
Carmen's gonna be the mom,
child.
and James
I
is
feel like
gonna
that's
be the
easier
dad.
when you do it with someone else, because like if they're not comfortable with you, they won't walk with you. Because I feel like that's why she did it with me, because she knows me and she's comfortable.
No, the energy will take the energy. You're gonna be on her left, you're gonna be on her right.
With me.
Her right?
On her right.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so
And then you
look, okay, she's the child, she's gonna lead the pace. Okay, so go. Now turn around,
Yeah, I did the same thing.
go again. It's on point. They didn't, you guys can go sit down now. They did not miss a beat. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was
He was
almost one step
watching,
Yeah, he was
ahead.
watching my feet.
he was watching to make sure that he stepped with her.
Yeah, he was watching.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to be watching?
I was just
It was
telling we
whatever
noticed.
came up. The
Oh,
point
okay.
is that she's the child and she leads the pace, but the two of you were right there. When we did it with her, she was the mom and she did it exact, but Nicole was the dad and Nicole stepped back. And her father is more like from the back, supporting her from a little
So
bit
that, what
afar.
does that mean if everybody's next to me?
That it's like a threesome, the three of you are just there in pace. You're not alone. You didn't have that autonomy to lead the way. They were like,
But
he didn't know.
But she,
He was like, I gotta be at her
but
pace.
that just justifies what she's saying. I don't want to be autonomous.
But imagine, since we know your origin story, which is so fascinating, you know, how many attempts did they have? Did you say? 7 attempts at this
No,
for her?
like 17.
How many
7.
attempts did your parents
That's too
do
much.
it?
Was it in vitro?
17.
That would be a lot.
Oh, I was like, man, that's-
7, it was
Yeah,
7
that'd be
attempts,
like-
and then there was extra miscarriages that were.
funny accuracy, but
17.
7 attempts.
That's
Do you know how wanted this person is?
absolutely.
But, so that's part of the origin story, but it was with assistance. She was gonna come, because hell, they were not gonna not have her come, but with
Yeah, it was the last
assistance.
time.
With assistance, so this thing of hearing no autonomy, or not being alone, or talking about the boyfriend instead of sharing her story about it, is this idea of assistance, and you see that with the walking. He was like determined to walk at your pace. Carmen was looking up, but she was still at the pace. So that's an activity you could do with your client.
I know a lot of things, like, will kind of come from your subconscious, however, but can variables play a role? Because, like, with my son, I walk fast, but his little legs can't keep up, so I constantly have to keep up at his pace in order for us to stroll. You know what I mean?
And it should be
That's what I
that
was
way.
saying by
And then
variable.
on top of that, like, I'm in the military and I march. So like we have to keep in unison, you know what I mean? So you like, after the first iteration, I was like maybe like a quarter inch, a half inch, you know what I mean, away from her foot. And then on the way back, it was like I already had it. Like I already knew her footstep, which is like 7 to 8 inches. Like, you know what I mean? Like I already knew.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? Like I'm already seeing all these variables. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, all right, this is how we do it. Like,
So when
does she
you
do
walk
a-
with Julian, he sets the pace or you set the pace?
it depends. Like he'll remind me, because sometimes like I have a bunch of things in my mind, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And he just knows like, all right, he's gonna have to like chuck it up and then let's go. But there's times where we're just hanging out and we're just strolling somewhere, and then I still walk fast. So he'll be like, Daddy, can you slow down a little bit? And I'm like, oh, my bad.
Okay, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
That's a healthy relationship with the child,
hmm
where he's able to say, whoa,
Yeah.
let me set the pace.
Yeah. It'll definitely
So
remind me
that's
a little
very
bit.
healthy, that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So if you're just distracted or whatnot, and he's like, oh shit, I gotta keep up,
Yeah.
but that's not typical.
He knows the difference.
Okay.
We gotta go in and out quick. That's right.
The typical relationship between son and father here is the fact that the son is setting the pace and even verbalizing it. Whoa. So if he were to do this activity with two people that weren't his parents, that would come out like that. So, or it could come out that dad walks fast, but then the person would explain that.
Yeah.
You know, oh, yeah, in my childhood, Dad, if we were in a hurry or something, would walk fast. So we can talk about it, but it'll demonstrate the energy of the mother and the father. So the mother's supposed to be like this patient, nurturing. The father's supposed to be more this protective. I know, you guys are like, yeah, not mine. Most people here, not him and not her, but it seems as if the three of you, and you're kind of who's the alliance with,
There's no alliance.
theirs is more with dad. So,
Yeah, but what I found weird was my dad is like her dad, like almost exactly. Because they're both like very military oriented, because her dad is a firefighter paramedic and my dad was a veteran for, well, been a veteran for many years, but he was in the army for many years. So like, he does the exact same thing they do. It's weird, they're almost like the same person, like he steps back, he does this, he helps her out, like it's whatever we need, but they still give us our space. Cause that's how we relate a lot, and then her mom is nuts and my mom's nuts. It's
so
like,
that's an alliance that you guys have.
Mhm.
So in their relationship, who are they to each other, mother or father?
In our relationship?
I think she's
Yeah,
mom,
you
not
wouldn't
mom.
know because you don't know the theory,
Mom?
but
Is it mom?
if every person,
say
place,
mom.
thing, or situation is your mother and your
Yeah.
father, and the two of you have the relationship that you have,
Father.
father.
Yeah.
You're father to her, she's father to you. So it represents that person that has that relationship. So the alliance here is with the father. What would you say your son's alliance is, with you or his mom?
I've been trying to determine that because I feel like there's it switches, it goes back and forth, and it's totally dependent on, I guess, situational.
Okay, and he's still not 7.
And no, he's 7.
He just,
Yeah,
he
he
did
is
turn
7.
7,
He's
okay.
7. Yeah, he is 7.
So at this
I've
point,
been, ever since he's turned 7, I swear it's like eggshells. That's it. I'm just like, I ain't gonna fuck up your life anytime anymore. Just make sure
well,
everything's right
what
at 7 years old.
happened between 5 and 7 was a divorce.
Yeah.
So now you know that his issue, his sort of that first skinny cow is gonna be divorce.
Yeah.
So the important thing with him is to model healthy relationship so that he understands that after divorce, there is still a potential for a healthy relationship,
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever it
that's
is
the
that you
full,
want
yeah,
to
that's the
teach
full
him.
concentration right now, 100%.
Because that's his skinny cow. So, now Carmen, who's your alliance with? Because you've got a tough situation with mom or dad.
Well, right now with my mom.
Okay, and would you say from childhood it was with your mom?
No, with my
No, it has to be mother or father. I know, that's why I ask. Because of your situation, it's almost like either one. So there's always going to be one parent that there is the alliance with, always. Now notice, she's like, no, my auntie. So does auntie represent mother or father?
Mother.
And mother. So that's how you can extrapolate to see. So what about you? Because you're similar to her.
I was actually always like a daddy's girl growing up. That was my alliance, was him.
Okay.
And then I don't know what the hell happened to him. I think a tree branch fell on his head and he just lost all common sense.
But the initial alliance was with dad. Is your husband mother or father?
Neither.
Every person, place, thing, or situation has to be mother or father. Rule one.
If she had an alliance with dad, it has to be mom. That's what
Not
I'm
necessarily.
Mhm.
We don't know what she's evaluating.
Who was his alliance?
No.
Oh.
Is your husband your mother or your father?
At this point in time, neither.
Has to be one.
Or your child.
What are these both?
What was that?
What are these both? Is that possible?
It's always both technically, because technically mom and dad are the exact same person. They're just mirroring different aspects. That's why when he talks about his child flip-flopping, that's actually the truth. But there has to be, he has to represent one or the other. Okay, let's ask a second question. If you can't figure that out, what don't you like about your husband at this moment?
A lot.
Okay, like what?
There's a list. A lot. The arrogance, the self-centeredness, mainly self-centeredness.
Is he your mother or your father?
My mother.
So once you get the quality, it's so much easier to define if it's mom or dad. So right now, he's your mom. And so if your alliance is with dad, it makes sense.
So your husband has to be the parent you like.
No, they're usually not going to be. They're usually gonna be a mix of both. Because obviously you fell in love with the person and you're sharing a life with this person. But their job is to trigger you. That's my whole relationship theory, another slide. We won't do that right now. But they're supposed to trigger you so that you can grow. So technically, and I am very pro-marriage, all relationships should work out with the exception of relationships that there's abuse, and there's different kinds of abuse, and that's not up to me to decide, that's up to the client to decide. But because each relationship you have is going to trigger something in you. That person is intended to be the non-alliance parent to trigger something in you. So that's why, what's the point of divorce when the next person is gonna have the same issues? That's why, as a therapist, I work with couples to save marriage, but that's not my job. That's not my decision anymore.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now write a story with the feet, the parachute, and the candles on your paper. Or have it in your mind, whatever.
My story's awful.
It's okay, we'll share in a minute.
Oh, you know what that thing looks like too? Those little balloons that you like put a wish in or something and you send up to the sky.
A lantern?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's, that's part of my story, like, you put something in there, we just let it go. That's,
Can you change the object to be something similar?
It's whatever you see it as. It's
Yeah,
symbolism
but-
behind it.
So in your story, you'll explain
Yeah.
what you see. That's fine. So she just saw that. Okay. Who wants to share their story?
So I kind of see the feet leaving stability with a parachute and like jumping and then.
No, because we're gonna ask the questions, so it's good, they're more rustic.
And then lighting a candle to find your way, but then kind of burning through the parachute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we wanna know? What questions are we asking?
Why is it burning through the parachute?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Why is it
Fire
burning?
is dangerous.
Why is fire dangerous?
'Cause it can burn.
Okay, so what chakra is fire? Or what does the fire element represent? She's now
Creation.
speaking